Hi.
Hi.
I'm Bob Fosse.
Bob Fosse revolutionized dance.
He created an entire style of jazz.
Bob Fosse went on to become one of the most important choreographers and directors. Fosse really recreated what we know of and think of as musical film.
It's gotta be tighter. I need it tighter. I wanna see the sweat. I wanna see the spot where they missed that foundation. No, he was an innovator, you know. He won the Triple Crown, the Emmy, Tony, and the Oscar all in the same year, which I don't think has ever happened ever again, you know.
You're gonna be absolutely insufferable now that you're a hotshot Hollywood director, right?
One of the great tragedies of Bob Fosse's life is that he never meant to become Bob Fosse.
I never wanted to be a director. All I ever wanted to be was Fred Astaire.
His dream since he was a child was to be a dancer.
My father came from a burlesque and vaudeville background, also a great tap dancer. So there's a rhythm in the movement and a musicality in the movement.
He really was a renegade, and yet what he did are very minimalistic dances, and yet they're incredibly difficult to do. I want to see every muscle, every tendon. Focus is front, Caitlin. And again.
He could create an entire world out of movement and character development, and then had a way of inviting you into that world so that you could believe everything he showed you, even if it might seem completely unbelievable.
I'm not moving.
What's sexier than standing still? The movement comes here.
First thing I did was go to Sam and find him and see if he'd be interested in playing the part. I said, Bob Fosse, and he said yes. What he understood instinctively was the struggle and the challenge of being an artist, the joy of creation, the jazziness of art and trying to capture it. Immediately, we knew who we had in the center of this to embody all of those characteristics and lead us.
It's intense. It's intense. I mean, it's challenging. Michelle does more dancing than I do as Gwen Verdon, but I've done a little bit, and it's tricky. It's tough. Michelle and I are trying to, to some degree, get an essence of Bob and Gwen's voices. I think people have more opinions about dancing than they do the way they speak, but we still wanted to, get an essence of how they spoke. I'm Gwen Verdon's husband. I'm her husband.
The poor kid, he turns bright red and says, well, gee, why in the world didn't you say so in the first place, Mr. Verdon?
Bob Fosse created a whole new visual vocabulary that you can see in his choreography for sure.
It's something that's going to get passed down from generation to generation. It's not like any other dance style. It's very, very specific.
He influenced a whole generation of filmmakers and editors. The kind of sharp cuts we saw with MTV and music videos, all these crazy angles, that's all Bob Fosse. He would have all of this footage, and instead of piecing it together and making a movie out of what the script had said, Bob took those numbers and he pulled them apart and made them into all of these different pieces. And before, that was considered something you just didn't do. That was anathema. He made film musicals their own genre with their own language.
So much of the vocabulary that's used in contemporary musicals was formed in a lot of his early shows. You'll never see a piece of choreography that doesn't have, well, it kind of reminds me of, and it's usually Fosse.